almost exactly 800 miles ago, I suffered a visit from a hit-and-run driver. He has since been caught and dealt with. I had to put on a banged-up fender off a project bike, color matched. That was a nice coincidence. In order to ride it at all, but getting it home, I cut up the tire pretty bad. Ran down to the tire store and I bought the only tire they had in stock that would fit this bike. It's a car tire, something that they call darksiding in the motorcycle community. Something I haven't done in years, since college. I used to do it pretty regular. It's never been a big macho preference thing. It's never been one of these, ooh, I'm going to be cool and ride a car tire. It's never even been, hey, longevity. It's always been about the same thing. It's always been about, well, it's always been a financial decision. In college, I didn't have a lot of money. Several years after college, I didn't have a lot of money. I hadn't done it, like I said, in a long time. But I figured, hey, as long as I'm doing it, it's always a constant ongoing debate. Has been as long as I've been riding motorcycles. So right now that tire has got, we're going to call it 800 miles. I wasn't very much into 670,000 when it happened. So it's been about a week. I've put about 800 miles on it since. It's getting broke in pretty good. I'm not equipped with anything more than, well, this camera and a cheap cell phone. So I can't hang fancy cameras under there or anything like that and show you what's going on. All I can tell you is that people do this. I've done it before. It does take a little getting used to. And people talk about, they always talk about the same thing when they say, oh, you don't want to do a dark side conversion. You don't want to put a car tire on there. You'll have this problem and that problem and the other problem. And those problems are real, but they're really, really minor. They're never as bad as people think they are. Once you figure out the inflation that your tire wants, it doesn't really grab at the road lines. It does just a little bit. Just a little bit. It's a little, oh, okay, that's that car tire. But it's never a constant thing. The biggest problem, and the one I've never seen addressed, the area that I live, the roads are extremely well sloped. The pitch of the road, the water runoff, the grade side to side. So the only real problem I've ever run into regularly is you have to give it a very slight, constant steering input left to go straight, because the roads are just sloped that well around here. Now you get up on the interstate and stuff where the slope's not quite as bad or as extreme, you don't really notice it. The other thing is the ride quality is a little different. Again, these are just problems that nobody ever seems to talk about. They all want to go straight to the you're gonna die. But the ride quality is a little different. And as dumb as this sounds, I think it's because you actually hit more bumps. You're not just balancing on the center portion of your tire. You got that whole tire down there. And you hit more bumps. You get more details of the bumps. And if you do what I do, and you picked one, let's see if you can see it. You picked a tire that's really a little bit wider than what you wanted, but again, so it was in stock, and I had to get this thing, running. I have to go to work like anybody else. A little bit wider than I wanted, but it fit okay. It's locked on there good. But I really think with that flat tire and that width, you feel more of the road. You get a few more bumps. It's not terribly uncomfortable. But in my case, that tire's a little wider than I wanted. I think there's a little bit more sidewall flex than I might have gotten with a narrower tire. And that translates into feeling more of the road. Biggest problem is dialing in your air pressure. The tire will tell you things like that particular one. I think it says it wants 41 pounds. And you start low, you add 5, you ride it, you add 5, you ride it. You figure out where it feels about the best. Got to get a front tire too, and I'm almost curious to see if there happens to be a car tire that narrow, just for the full, complete thing, because that's always the big thing. Is you hear that one a lot. If it was such a great idea, why don't you put a car tire on the front too? And I said, when I was going to college on that old Kawasaki, I did have a car tire on both ends. I could afford them. For example, the tire I would have put on there, had it been something I could grab and get installed that same day, would have been an Avon motorcycle tire. It would have run me over $300, and I would have got about 4,500 miles out of it. That car tire, mounted and balanced, cost me a little under $80. No idea how long it's going to last. It's supposed to be for 10,000 miles on a car, but I'm not in any hurry to change it because so far it's been performing well. You know, I got almost 800 miles. It's starting to get broke in. It flexes nice. It leans nice. It does take a little getting used to, even if you've done it before. But I was trying to keep this short. Basically, this is just a starting point. I'll try to do an update or two along and along as we hit certain milestones or as I find problems. But so far, honest opinion, and really the only thing I remember from 40 years ago is it doesn't ride as nice. I mean, that's about all I can tell you. It's just doesn't ride. You get a little more road feedback in your behind. It's not unpleasant. It's just, you know, something you got to get used to. Anyway, we'll keep you posted.